Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the Lovely Digest here on YouTube. If you haven't followed me already on Instagram, I'd really appreciate it. My handle is the Lovely Digest. If you're new here, hi, my name is Emily and thank you so much for joining. So you'll notice that I'm in the same outfit as my last video. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. But I just really wanted to jump into the things that have been helping me through this time. If you missed my last video, again, I went and described all of the updates and the things that have been happening. So I'm going to touch on some of those here. So it might be a little bit confusing. Definitely go check that video out before you watch this one. I know it's a little long, I'm sorry, but so many things have happened. The first one being that my nutrition has totally changed. I wasn't eating refined sugars before the last few weeks, but upon talking to two nutritionists, one of them being a functional nutritionist, I have even more refined my diet and I'm continuing to do so. I have been taking notes of all the recipes and things that I'm doing to stay healthy and happy and full all day long, and I'm hoping to share that with you guys. I don't know exactly the format that I'm going to be using, but I don't know. We'll just have to stay tuned and see what comes of that. Surprise, surprise. But essentially I am eating really plain, but not super plain. When someone says plain, you probably think, oh, just like plain toast, like the brat diet. So it's not that. I definitely couldn't live on that and be completely happy, and it's something that kind of made me nervous because I thought, man, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that from day to day. I definitely am a huge snacker. I'm hungry all the time. I kind of feel like I'm still growing in that way where, like, you know, when you're a teenager and you're hungry all the time and you can eat endless amounts of food. That's kind of me now. Like, I do get full, but I just like to snack a lot throughout the day. But essentially, I'm learning that it's also important to give your stomach rest. So the things that I'm eating are more tailored to my gut. The first being my breakfast routine. I now have invested in buying organic short grain brown rice, and I cook this for a really long time on the stove and it turns into this really nice porridge, and I'll usually have this for breakfast with a bit of coconut yogurt. Now yogurts nowadays are not super healthy, guys. They have tons and tons and tons of ingredients in them and it's not good for you. They don't have any nutritional benefit. The way that I found this is through Maggie McDonald. She's another YouTuber and I really admire her style and the way that she eats. So if you don't have Crohn's, definitely go follow her, or even if you do, I've been getting recipe ideas from her, but I've had to modify them a bit for my diet now. But she's super great and I really like her clean style. But again, essentially she talked about this yogurt, Cocoyo, and it's coconut yogurt with probiotics in it. They don't have a ton of probiotics, I will be honest, but I did notice that right after trying it, I did feel so much better. So they're definitely doing something good for me. There's only, I think, 3 ingredients. There's no sugar in it, nothing. It definitely has a different taste. It doesn't taste like regular yogurt, but that's because it doesn't have any additives, preservatives, any of that junk in it that's really going to contribute to intestinal inflammation and gut dysbiosis. So I've been having a little bit of that and definitely eating a more wide variety of foods. One thing that I thought again was that I'm going to have to eat super plain, but that's just not the case. It's more about tailoring it to what your symptoms are. So all of your symptoms in combination are indicators of different things going on in your body. So for example, my face, my cystic acne has returned, and acne on different parts of your face can indicate different things going on in your body. So if you're getting your period, then it might indicate certain hormone levels that are higher. One thing that has definitely helped me with that is Flow Living by Elisa Vitti, I believe her name is. But she has an app, Flow Living. She has several books on hormonal balance. She also has a website and services. I ordered her most recent book, so I'm going to be reading that and learning more about my period and how that contributes to Crohn's disease. One thing that I also want to mention that I learned is that birth control, especially the combination pill birth control, if you've been taking it for more than 5 years, then you're more predisposed to getting Crohn's disease. There's plenty of studies out there on this. I'll leave some links in the description, but I've been compiling a ton of information. You can even do a quick Google search on it and find out all of the crazy things that and how your body is so connected, and how hormones can actually contribute to inflammation in your body. If you're having that additional intake of hormones to serve as birth control, it can actually increase inflammation levels in your body drastically and make you 3 times more likely to develop Crohn's disease if you are on them for more than 5 years. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm not sure if mine is related to that. I definitely think my Crohn's disease stemmed from food poisoning and gut dysbiosis that just progressed slowly, or quickly actually, over the course of about a month and a half. So yes, definitely go do your research on that. But those books and her resources have been super helpful to me in figuring out what to really focus on in my diet. Another thing that has been super helpful is talking to a variety of people, so a variety of nutritionists. I've talked to 2 so far. Both of them have quite similar views, and I am taking what I can from each of them and applying it to my life. So one of them definitely is eat more plain, eat more Japanese based meals like miso, and include seaweed like wakame. I might be butchering that, I'm so sorry. White girl things, but or kombu, again, apologies if that's the wrong way to say it. But just including things like that in my diet because they're very high in probiotics, but then also including lots of fresh veggies and organic veggies and greens into my diet. I always make sure to cook them. It makes it a lot easier for your body to digest if they are cooked and not cold. Cold things can shock your body into whatever, trying to digest it. It can be very hard for your body to digest because your body temperature, as you know, is like around 98.6, and it can get thrown off by drinking, eating, consuming cold things. So definitely make sure that what you're eating is around like a warmer temperature. I know I'm just throwing so many things at you guys. I apologize. I've just been so full of information and want to share it with you. So I hope it's as organized as I intended it for it to be. But moving on to the next thing. So in that same vein, the functional nutritionist that I talked to, who I really admire, is Russell Mariani. I've been reading his Healing Digestive Illness book. You can find it on Thrift Books. That's where I get all of my books from, or on Amazon. It's just a really great resource. Another book that I really like is Living with Crohn's and Colitis by Dee Cummings. If you search Dee Cummings, then the book will just come up. She co-wrote it with a Dr. Jessica Black, and I'm really loving their book as well. I think it's important to find a couple of resources that you really trust and like and admire, and from there really curate your own diet, what's going to work for you. Everyone is so different, and I'm sure you've heard that 1,000 times, and it would just be so easy to just get one diet that works for you. But the truth is that everyone's Crohn's came from one thing or another. It might be genetic, it might be because of food poisoning, it might be because of antibiotics. The list goes on and on and on. Really tracing back your own symptoms might help you kind of figure out where it came from and how to best tailor what you're eating and your needs to your body. So that being said, another thing that I've been doing is lots of yoga and meditation, and something that I've been really into recently is Lacey Phillips' Expanded podcast. She is the founder of To Be Magnetic, something that I would really like to invest in the future, but as someone who is just starting out in her career out of college, I do not make a lot of money. You guys know I still work at a barn to try to make ends meet at the moment during quarantine. And while I'm going through all of these tests and medical things and figuring out my life. So it's something that I would love to invest in the future, but in the meantime, her podcast and her resources that she offers through that and the people that she talked to has been a huge, huge resource for me, and have connected me with so many things that are really helping me to make it through day to day. Manifesting is kind of like a woo thing that I've always looked at as, oh, I don't know, like I believe in God personally. I think God will give you everything that you need in life. But in that same vein, you need to be open and receptive to it and communicating with God and communicating with your inner authentic self. And I really like her model because she does not believe in thinking positive all the time and living as if you have all the things that you want, because that's just really not going to help you. And I think that's kind of where my sense of like, oh, this is woo-woo came from. Instead, she really looks at reprogramming things that she calls blocks and shadows, which essentially are things that when you're little and you're most impressionable, lots of things happen to you that probably kind of made you feel shame around certain aspects of your life. For example, if you're an artist and you grew up with parents who were in the financial sector, I think this is an example that she used, is that your artistic side might be a little bit repressed because your parents didn't honestly see how you could make money being an artist, just because they didn't understand. They didn't have examples of artists in their lives that were successful, and yeah, so maybe you just have that programming in your brain, and so you grow up and you go to college for something that isn't art, and then you realize that that's just not what you want, unless of course you can find and surround yourself with people who have been successful, in which case maybe you do go to school for art and then you start living your authentic self truly, and you go back home and you say, hey guys, here's an example of how you can be a successful artist, and your parents are like, oh wow, okay. So that's just one example of how she does things, and I really agree with that. Something that I worked through with my own therapist is that when you were little, like everything had such a big impact on you. So every interaction you had, whether it was with your friends or family, whatever, had again like a huge impact on you. And some things might get repressed about your personality or whatever. Personally, I don't think that anything really major happened to me in life. I had a really great childhood, but at the same time I had a mentor from a young age who did tell me that as an artist, or as a painter, I really liked to paint at that age, who really liked horses, I wasn't gonna be able to have an artistic lifestyle and have a horse when I was older, which was a huge dream of mine. And so I definitely looked at that and was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't really know what I want. And I think it's led to a lot of confusion. Not saying that that person was wrong for thinking that, that's totally true, but the way that it should have been phrased was, let's help find a artistic career for you there, because there's so many of them. Let's see which one you would thrive in, and then really help set you up for success, essentially, in a place where you could have a horse, because we all know nowadays artists are probably making the most money in this world right now, let's be honest. So I think that's led to a lot of suppression in my life, and I personally don't know exactly where I belong. I know what makes me happy though, and that's kind of what's been driving my search for the next job and the next thing in life, and has been really fueling my need to create and make these videos and start the Lovely Digest and stop seeing myself as being stupid. Like, if I like to do it, then I like to do it, and somehow compensation will come along after that. And that's totally fine with me now, and that's all because I've been kind of listening to this podcast and really focusing on meditating and connecting with myself rather than being ruled by fear. So I know that that was kind of a long-winded comment and this was a long-winded video, but I hope that some of these resources are helpful to you guys. That's essentially how I've been staying cool, calm, and collected. I definitely have moments of intense fear where it just kind of like takes me over or I wake up fearful, but in those moments I go back to meditating and use the Headspace app and get on my yoga mat and just kind of move my body, and that has really, really helped me. So I hope you guys take some comfort in these things, and again, thank you so much for being patient with me here on the Lovely Digest. I'm always posting on Instagram, so you should definitely follow me there if you aren't already, and stay updated here on YouTube and on the blog, thelovelydigest.com. I really appreciate all of your support and your lovely messages. If I don't get to you, I'm so sorry, but I love talking with you guys. And yeah, stay tuned for more content.